howdy, y'all. Guess y'all know what time it is. It's time for someone to fix their roof. So I apologize about the noise. So we'll make some more for a little bit. If you're lurking and working, let's go ahead and cancel out the music. No big deal. Hey, look, that's back to Oakland. Well, right now my team's in Las Vegas, so I guess not back to Oakland. And my team's on a losing streak, so even more not back to Oakland. But hey, just lose, baby. I mean, just win, baby. Howdy, Jeff. Howdy, James. Got all the good J's in here today. Now, if my wife will just come over and bug me, I can even have some vajayjay. Oh, wait, I didn't say it that way. Actually, I did. She would expect me to say something like that. Holly was one time with me up at the cigar shop. And somebody said something about how Holly was, how, because my wife is good about making a off-color remark also. She's, living with one of the best, so of course she's going to get good at it eventually. And they sat there and said, well, one of the guys anyways sat there and said, "We see that Donald's rubbing off on you." And I looked at him and I said, "As often as I can." Off-color remark. Here's the funny part. Soon as they said it, Holly was like, "Oh," because she knew I was about to. That's what it was. Yeah, I couldn't help myself. Uh-oh, James is smoking some vanilla custard in a Bulldog 7LE. Howdy, Paul. Howdy, Matthew. And howdy, Sharon. Sharon, by the way, how did your needle to the knee go? Hopefully well. Are you still racing Paul around on crutches or just hopping around, or is Paul trying to run away from you as you swing that cast iron skillet? I mean, I know some women that get a little bit violent when they get a little. Oh, she's in pain. Okay. Well, Sharon. Hopefully that subsides quickly and you get to no longer be in pain. I mean, Look, this is not something that just one or two of us is going to say. I mean, that's what we're all thinking. Most of the guys in the YTPC are fairly much a gentleman at heart. I can say this because I'm fairly certain that it's true. We don't like even the thought of the women that are hanging with us, or wives of, or girlfriends, fiancés, whatever of. We don't like them to be hurting at all. Paul, you just got to bring her here. I got a whole roof full of Mexicans just one street over. They've got their hammers already out. You can hear them. I'm fairly certain you'll be able to hear them. I can hear them. It's kind of annoying. But there's no way you're going to put a roof on a house at night. It's just not happening. Sharon, believe me, I understand completely. I'm definitely a victim of knee surgery and knee pain ever since the surgery. Hey, I could show you a picture, but I won't. Actually, you know what? Howdy, Cliff. Great to see you, sir. You know what? I'll find that picture. Let's see. Let's go down here and find that picture. It won't be pretty. I'm going to apologize now. There's going to be people that are going to go, ooh. Not sure how far down through this list of pictures I have to go. Hey, I got video of a Megadeth song from about 5 years ago. Live from the concert. I know it's in here somewhere. It's got to be in here somewhere. Then again, actually, it doesn't have to be in here anywhere. Oh, good. It's not in here. One last look at the very bottom. Let me see. Nope. Not gonna happen. Oh, wait, there it is. Found it. Okay, none of y'all get too upset by this. You can still count the staples. Yeah, I might know about some knee pain. Yeah, so much fun. Howdy, Boris. Huva Ilta. I'd say Jamut, but that just means en chat. Alright, so Good for you there. Good for you there, Cliff. I mean, remember that when you need help now, the police are just minutes away. But that firearm is only a quick little pull and go to work, depending upon somehow how that happens. Oh, Boris, I've lived in some rough neighborhoods. Some really rough neighborhoods. Like that neighborhood that was somewhere out near Saudi. Yeah. Ooh, Cliff. Yeah, that's not quite. No, see, I took mine in a motorcycle accident. Dwayne took his actually. Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He actually does have a bad knee. There's footage of it somewhere. I believe he was University of Miami, and his knee got folded back about 90 degrees the wrong direction in his senior year. So not only did he miss most of his senior year, but he also missed out on getting into the pros. But that happens to a lot of college football players that miss out. They then go into the WWE world, and if they're smart, they make a little money for themselves. Whew. Paul, I will be covering a little bit for Chad. I am not going to cover my hour and his 3. But I will be covering at least a cigar worth. Oh, Joe Don Baker. Yeah, the old Walking Tall. That was based upon Buford out in Georgia. Oh, Boris, sorry. That's somebody working on a roof. That's not shooting, that's just hammers. And it's making a weird echo, but yeah, it's okay. Well, James, it's better to handle a shop than it is to handle a mop, or at least in my... Not pisser, purser. Purser. Or pusser, yes. But not pisser. Oh, that was McNairy County, Tennessee. That's right. Yes, Buford actually did get really kind of famous being the original Hacksaw Jim Dugan. Carrying a board around, smacking the hell out of people with it. And that's the actual... Paul, that was the gentleman's last name. Buford Pusser. Pusser. In case you want to look this guy up, he went to Vietnam, came home from Vietnam, looked at the way his city was all kind of in corruption, and decided to do something about it. Years later, they remade it with the guy who is The Rock. In case y'all are wondering, this is a My Father La Bijou. No, it's not one of the ones Phil sent me. I already had this one set up to go. Oh, okay, so the pronunciation would be pusser. I thought it was pusser or purser, but it's spelled like pusser. Though if you walked up and called that man when he was still alive any kind of something like that word, he was liable to grab hold of you and slam you around for a couple of minutes. Well, okay, Jeff, Ohio Piper. Dwayne Johnson actually carried a turned 4x4 that somebody with a good wood lathe decided to turn that out, for at least for the movie. Yeah, I know. Noisy cicadas, noisy squirrels, noisy lawn mowing people. It's not really the neighbors, though. They're getting a new roof. So it's really the noisy roofing company. But if somebody can figure out how to attach roofing shingles to a piece of sheet or plywood without it making any noise, you let me know right now, because as soon as that happens, we're going into business. Nighttime roofing companies, hell yeah. We'll work under the lights so that you can sleep well at night. Just remember, here in the United States, we actually have to put them in with nails. So you got to figure out how to get the nail through the shingle and the plywood deep enough to actually seat. That's like boiler refractory that doesn't wear out. Somebody figures out how to make boiler refractory that doesn't wear out, and I guarantee I am going into business with you, and we are going to be way more lucrative than Bill Gates. Woo! You go, Cliff. And howdy, Steve. Great to have y'all in today. I'm going to light up, might as well. I love it when you get one little bitty flake off of your cigar and then it ends up on the back side of your teeth. It's the only thing I don't really like about cigars. Sometimes you just get that one little flake. When you give a good pull, it gets right back in there. There's nothing you can do but get it out. Or chew it up. Yes, I could have chewed it up. But I didn't. So here's one curiosity for anybody who's curious about cigars. And it's something that will be discussed. Yeah, not screws, Boris. There's a reason for not screws. Mostly because then they're up there with screw guns making 3 times as much noise. Guaranteed. So here's my curiosity about pipes. For those of us who are pipe collectors and smokers. You go get yourself a pipe, a bunch of cleaners, a check tool, a specific type of lighter. You watch hours and hours and hours of YouTube videos on coil nailers. Yeah. You don't want to spend all the time in the world putting screws in, because they're up there with air pneumatic hammer. Well, not an air pneumatic hammer. It's an air gun. So you load a section of nails and then you just go pack, 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 pack. It still makes the same noise as the hammer, but they're not going pound, 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 pound. It never misses. You shoot one time and it's done. Plus, nowadays they've actually got a way to shoot a little bit of tar on there so that as it penetrates the not the tab, as it's penetrating the shelf of the shingles, it'll actually seal itself all the way, and that used to not be the case. So, as I was saying, you get yourself a pipe cleaners, check tool, and a specific kind of lighter, and you still haven't even bought any tobacco. You already got more stuff in your hands than is comfortable to carry, and you have yet to purchase anything to actually smoke out of it. Pocket knife or multi-tool with a sharp blade of any kind. Kitchen knife will work. In fact, I cut this today. Not the best cut I've ever done, but is it going to focus in? You know what? It's not going to focus. So just take my word for it. Not the best cut I've ever done. But you can get away with a pocket knife and the same lighter as anybody would use for a pipe lighter. I mean, okay, I'm going to use my torch because I've already got it. But I don't have to. I could use matches just as well. Howdy, Scott. Great to see you, sir. Don't run too far. I highly discourage that type of action. Running and, you know, it just doesn't work so well. Especially not if you got knees like I do. Well, Steve, you're right. Get yourself a pipe roll. That's one way to deal with it. Peter Piper, NYC, howdy, sir. Oh yeah, Scott, believe me, I'm right there with you. I'm not running. I'm not running anywhere. That's why I carry a gun. I'm not going to run away from a fight. I can't. I physically can't. And you know the rule is you don't have to outrun the attacker. You just have to outrun the guy next to you. Well, I can't do that either. So I carry a gun. You remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon? There was Speedy Gonzales and his cousin, Slowpoke Rodriguez. Well, Speedy Gonzales was fast enough you couldn't catch him. And Slowpoke Rodriguez, he carry a gun. Not my words. That's straight out of Bugs Bunny. Now, Peter, you're sort of right. Except for it's more like comparing slow pour and French press. And I'm going to explain it. Now, look, I love smoking a pipe. And I'll be smoking this one later today. That's why I've got it out here with me right now. But I love smoking a cigar. But you know what I don't need to smoke a cigar? I don't need a tamper, scraper. About the only thing I need is that wire every once in a while, and that's just because if I end up with a torpedo, I'm still going to smoke it, but I know it's going to plug up on me because I'm a wet smoker. But I don't need the pipe cleaner, the check tool. So the cigar, which is very similar in all respects to a pipe, it is in some ways preferred depending upon the activity. If I'm going to take a flight anywhere, jump on a plane, go take a flight, I'll take a cigar with me. If I'm taking luggage, I will safely pack my pipe and a little bit of tobacco and a good lighter in my luggage. And I'll take a cigar with me. Because I'm not handing over a $100 pipe to the TSA and being like, oh yeah, sure, I can mail it home, huh? If they decide that they don't want it on their plane, suddenly you can't put it on their plane. But if it's in your luggage, they won't do nothing about it. Yeah, Paul, I mean, there is the issue of you can't carry a pocket knife or any kind of anything there in the United Kingdom. I would suggest taking up the game of golf. Then you can walk around with a bag full of clubs. And according to Tiger's ex-wife, I don't remember what her name is. But a golf club is mighty profound on being a persuader. Well, Peter, you're right. The cigar does not replace the pipe, and the pipe does not replace the cigar. But as I said, in some situations, the cigar is much more preferable. Like I said, if you're going on a flight, you don't have to have very much. Take your own stick. You can figure out a way to cut it after you get there, or pre-cut it, which is not all that difficult. And you know what? Go find a book of matches, or go get a light from somebody who's outside smoking a cigarette. You can get a light. And with a cigar, you can quite often do it in one shot without having to go back and relight. Howdy, Steph. Great to see you, ma'am. Or you could take some regular strike anywhere matches, just one or two, and hide them somewhere. Put it in your sock. Do what the girl in Deadpool did and walk around with it in your mouth. It all works out. Now, as far as sitting down, relaxing with a good book, you're insane if you're not using your pipe. Now, let's say that you're going to some sort of a somewhat social event. Just bear with me here. I've done this with my wife. It works. It works out real well. If she has some sort of social engagement that she can't get out of because of her line of work, I'll go with her. In my jacket pocket, you know, you're talking about suit and tie kind of a situation. In my jacket pocket, I can put 2 or 3 cigars on the inside. Nobody sees them. Nobody knows they're there. You're not really chest bumping and hugging people while you're in a suit. So it works. Paul, that's a very interesting question. Any way that you cut a hole, whether it be with a bladed object, a official cigar cutter of some sort, or a punch. I know a guy who likes to use a sewing needle and just jab little holes until it gets to where he likes it. Never cuts the cap at all. He just jabs a shit ton of little holes in it. It all comes down to what you prefer. Of course, it also depends upon what kind of cigar it is. With a round cap, just about anything works. With a torpedo cap, like I was smoking yesterday, you really need to cut a chunk of it out. Whether it be a V-shaped notch, or a round cut, or some sort of crazy any other way that you choose to do it. But that's because torpedo, the binder and filler and everything does kind of cone in on itself. So if you're just going to poke a bunch of little holes, you've got to really jam them in there quite far, and you kind of risk destroying the cigar also. So it's one of those interesting things about the torpedo and Solomon shape is you kind of have to know a little bit more about what you're doing. But some cigars come with a little pigtail. Cigars with a pigtail, you can quite easily bite the pigtail off. Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, that is a Tabac Especial. One of the few infused cigars that I don't mind. Coffee flavored. In case y'all are wanting to see what the label would look like, it looks pretty much exactly like that. So, Paul, there's lots of different answers to that specific question you asked. But the best answer is you got to do what's right for you. It's like smoking a pipe. What's the best one? Well, your best one might not be my best one. What's the best blend? There's people out there that swear that it's Stonehaven. But if you ask our good buddy Glenn if Stonehaven's even good, he'll tell you it's only good for fertilizing the lawn, because it's complete and total shite. Or some other word that he'll reiterate. Well, he's Australian, so he's going to say it different than I would. So there's a lot of different answers to that specific question. Oh, but as I was saying, yeah, if you're going to like read a book, smoking a cigar while reading a book, it's dangerous for the book, and you're not going to actually smoke as much of the cigar as you think you would. And yes, I read books. Takes me a little longer than most people, but I think I explained that a couple of times. That is just somebody getting a new roof, Peter. I cannot control the fact that they're basically one street over going that way. Here's a funny thing though, because of the direct dynamics of the spot where I'm sitting, I guess it's probably a little louder because this is a little bit of an echo chamber. But here's the funny part. It's worse in my backyard even though it's over on that side of the house. Because it seems to like echo all the way around the house and then just bounce off the fence and the house. Well, Cliff, there are about 8 of them up on that roof. They got one guy on the ground sending up full packs of shingles. I'm not a roofer. I know the words, but they don't come to mind just as readily as like electrical words. Of course, we're not going to get into that. Nobody wants to get into electricity here, I'm pretty certain. I mean, I could teach you how to wire up just about anything. Whether it be here in America or overseas in many, many locations. I was hoping that they would finish up by now, or that they would have started with the backyard and moved to the front yard by this afternoon. No. They're doing a marvelous job, though. I will tell you that I saw where they started, and I saw what they've got up there already. Big roof. So they are working. Ah, yes, Steve, that's right. Shingles are not fun. Unless, of course, they're on top of your house, keeping it from being wet on the inside of your house. Though some things should be wet on the inside of your house. Bottom of the toilet should be wet. Ice maker should be wet. Said y'all thought I was going to make a dirty joke. I know you. I know you. I know me too. I was making a dirty joke, then cleaned it up. Well, Cliff, it's kind of crazy that it's just a second coming of the chicken pox. They used to tell you way back in the day, oh, somebody's kids have got chicken pox. Then you run all your kids out there to go get chicken pox so that everybody can be miserable all at the same time. Now they found out that it might just be better to get a vaccine for it. One that actually prevents the infection to begin with. Oh, hey, in case y'all didn't hear about this on the news, let's call it 1 o'clock this afternoon. Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted. Cliff, we know you've got chicken pics. Oh, there's Bertha. She just gave 3 eggs this week. Betty over here, she's our newest chicken. Of course, the chicken ranch here in the area of Texas where I'm from, that takes on a whole different meaning. How? They got a lot of nice girls there. And in case nobody knows what I'm talking about, yes, there was actually a whorehouse called the Chicken Ranch. It was in LaGrange. ZZ Top wrote a song about it. Of course, they wrote a song about it well after Marvin Zindler had gotten the whole town all in a tizzy about how his reporting got their chicken ranch shut down. There you go, Cliff. I knew it was coming. Gotta remember, ZZ Top wrote some really, really off songs. Good songs, but off. I mean, Pearl Necklace. Tube Steak Boogie. Not to say that sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but ZZ Top basically said sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Just saying. And it worked for them. It wasn't until after they came out with some of their sex, drugs, and rock and roll songs that they decided to grow beards. What are those things I can compete with? Sorry, there's no way I can compete with. What? Oh, okay. Thank you, AT&T, for telling me that this has now cost me 2 gigabytes of data. She's got legs. She knows how to use them. Kind of a big hit. You might have heard of it. Cliff, I do too. I love them enough that I took my son to see ZZ Top on his 21st birthday. Yeah. A tear trickles down my cheek. Great band, loads of fun. Songs you can just really groove to. And not super hard to copy. They didn't do a whole lot of hard work on making their music. There is a whole lot of hard work on making the music. Don't get me wrong. But you're not going to see a whole lot of, oh my God, this guy can really jam on a ZZ Top song. I mean, you're going to be like, man, that was just a good jam. Sure, that was a great song. Sure, but you're not going to be like, wow, that guy was some sort of guitar virtuoso. I mean, okay, you're not going to say that really too much about AC/DC either. Two bands right there that they knew 3, maybe 4 chords, and they put it together, and they really played the hell out of them. Yes, Steph, you're correct. Billy F. Gibbons is a regular on the show Bones. He was. I'm not sure if the show is still running or not. But he played one of the characters' fathers. And he pretty much played it as it was just him. Just as he normally would be. did it for a woman. I did it for Mike. Okay, let me clarify. Mike sent me product and a razor and gave me some simple instructions, and I said, I will give it a fair and honest shot. Piper said, howdy, sir. Great to see you, sir. Yeah, Steve, what are you going to do when it gets cold up there in Oklahoma? Or as John likes to say, Oklahoma. I could have made it a lot louder, but I wasn't going to. Never know, Steph. He might like the furry look. I'm not speaking out of turn here. I'm just saying that it's not my place to judge. And I will say that if Holly does or does not shave her legs, I'm not telling you. Because it's none of y'all's business. Yeah. Hey, did they finish up for the day? Guess not. All right, Piper said, the Rocky Patel 1992. Depends upon which jacket you're getting. With the 60 ring gauge, I would definitely suggest going with the Maduro if you're getting it. Connecticut is going to be bland at best. And their natural or Cameroon wrapper is not quite strong enough for me personally, at least not in the 60 ring gauge. So again, making sure that I set the record correct here. I'm not saying that the cigar's not good. I'm saying if it was me, which one I would prefer. Because from the very center of the cigar, you get most of your flavor from the very outside of the cigar. Just the last two wraps of a cigar, that's what you're really going to get. Black can. I don't remember the Rocky Patel 1992 60 coming in a can. I always got mine in boxes, so I'll have to look that up. But it's going to be a 60 ring gauge cigar, so a bit bigger around than this. Rule of thumb is that if you want a less intense flavor and a longer smoke, go with a bigger ring gauge. If you want more intense flavors and a little bit of a faster smoke, downsize the ring gauge. The closer you get to a Lancero, the more flavor it's going to have. Of course, unfortunately, you can end up with a lot stronger of a cigar, especially if they're putting Ligero in it, because they're still going to use the whole Ligero leaf in that bunch, which is going to be a lot of nicotine. Black tube. Okay, yeah, so it's a tubo. Probably it is a Maduro then. Steve, that just means she was dressed for the 9 in German, which means no. Black tube with screw cap. Yes. Now, save the tube and the screw cap after you're done. They make really nice portable pipe tobacco containers. So you take it, you carefully loosely dump some pipe tobacco into it, put the lid on, stick it in a pocket, and go about your day. That and a corn cob, a Zippo, and a check tool, you got 2 or 3 smokes with you at all times. You're ready for just about anything. I always suggest saving those cigar tubes for such situations. $9 for a tubo, that's a pretty good price. They'll run anywhere from 8 in the box all the way to 12. So somewhere between 8 and 12 for the 1992, and that's here in Houston, by the way. I'm not trying to tell you what you might be paying for it in your area. But with the tube, you're always going to pay more for the tube. So yeah, $9 for a 60 in the tube, it's a good price. Okay, now I'm going to qualify this by a small, readily available statement here. Once you start getting past a 60 ring gauge cigar, flavors are going to fall off greatly. I've had 80 ring gauge and 70 ring gauge, and yeah, it takes forever to smoke them, so you'll still get plenty of nicotine in, but you're going to miss out on so much flavor. And Asylum puts out decent cigars, but for the price, you know it's got to be short filler. Short filler basically means it's the scraps. And Donnie's over here relaying that his 1992 black tube Maduros are right around $10. And he also likes them. So, howdy, Donnie. Great to see you, sir. And, well, I mean, I appreciate you showing up. But, yeah, so the Asylum and, what is it? JFR. If you're seeing a box that says JFR, JFR is supposed to mean just for retail. Made in the same factory as the Asylums, if I remember correctly. Peter, I am not certain how to judge what ring gauge is what. I find that if you can stick your ring finger, the ring that's on your ring finger, on the cigar, then it's big enough. but that's just me. And, you know, I'll prove it. And this is the La Bijou, which I believe that's a 52 ring gauge. Some cigars I do like a 60 in. Some I will go as low as a 48. You'll almost never see me smoke a Lancero because I end up just with a plugged piece of junk. Willie, howdy, sir. Yes, that's the one hard, fast rule. You will get more flavor and, in general, a better flavor out of a smaller ring gauge. If you want more flavor, go smaller. If you want less flavor, go larger. That sounds pretty accurate, Peter. That sounds pretty accurate, because a 60 ring gauge, I believe, is a 1 inch. In fact, there's a cigar maker out there called Inch, or at least a label out there called Inch, and I believe all of theirs are like a 60 ring gauge. And yes, I am trying to smoke this really slow so that we have a maximum amount of time. Okay, the Camacho, Connecticut is actually really nice. I've had 3 different sizes. I liked them all. I'm not going to say that they are just like really blowing my skirt up or something. Not that I wear a skirt. We leave that for Martin. But it's got a decent amount of flavor for the stick sizing. And it is made by Davidoff. So they've got a fairly good quality record without having to push all the time, Davidoff, Davidoff, Davidoff. So Donnie says 50 to 54 as far as the ring gauge is his best size. Donnie, that puts you firmly in the Robusto, de Toro, and Churchill size. And almost everybody is going to have a different size that they're going to want. Specifics. I'm not going to try and tell you what your size has to be. I will tell you what I've had and what I prefer. And I've had a shit ton of cigars. So it's not like I'm trying to hide something from you. $8.39 for the Camacho. That's fair. That's a fair price. It's maybe a couple cents higher than what I'm getting them here in Houston. It might be within a couple of pennies. I mean, you might be on the low end there, so I mean, that works. Peter, you've pretty much nailed what I'm saying there about Camachos. It's good stick. It's not going to destroy your pocketbook, but its flavors are basically generic. I mean, I can find a lot of Camachos in liquor stores. But, I mean, for a Connecticut, it's not bad. I always suggest Connecticut's with right there first thing in the morning. The first smoke of the day with that cup of coffee. That's your opportune moment for a Connecticut. Because after you've had a Connecticut, you can smoke anything else, and you're not going to notice that that Connecticut is lingering. But for instance, let's say that you went out and you got a Padron Natural, even a 2000, okay? Probably one of the finest cigars you can get of that size and that quality, period. Not going to break the bank. But if you smoke a Padron Natural and 2 hours later you go back and you try to smoke pretty much any Connecticut, you're going to be like, man, this was a waste of my time and money. Donnie, yes, the Opus X is available here in the Houston area on a fairly regular basis, but I go to a very reputable shop, and my guy stays on top of those money cigars. That's funny stuff. Okay, the Oliva Connecticut. I'd say that if I'm choosing between the Oliva Connecticut and the Camacho Connecticut, I'm going with the Oliva. I'm not trying to take away anything from Camacho. Just, I'm not. Okay? But my flavor preference, I would go with the Oliva. That's just the way it is. Yes, Cliff, Cascadian Piper. I've actually subbed him already. I've seen 2 or 3 of his videos. Seems like a really nice guy. I wish he would come in on some of the lives a little more. I think I've caught him on 2 or 3 lives. Ooh, Donnie. Part of where I live is that I am 6 miles from a Casa de Monte Cristo. And when you consider that Cigars International and Altadis, one of them is always number 1 and one of them is always number 2. And I'm not going to say which one is number 1 and which one is number 2 as far as who sells the most cigars every year. But if you're around one of their stores, you can almost always guarantee you're going to find some things in there that you can't find at some of these other smaller places. So there's Peter agreeing with me. And Boris is saying, yeah, Cascadia's got a decent beard. Well, how does it rate compared to the Boris and Chad scale? You know, if Billy Gibbons ever shaves, most of us will step at least one up in line for about 10 minutes. And then I, of course, will fall back behind. Kentucky Fired Cured Fat Molly. Okay. Fat Molly is a sweet-tipped cigar. Now, Drew Estates has a line called Deadwood. And Kentucky Fired Cured is also a Drew Estates line. But the Deadwood line did a sweet-tipped cigar. And you're going to taste sweet all the way through. The part I don't like about the Kentucky Fire Cured cigars is that I always get this flavor of charcoal, which is a necessary flavor if you've ever been working in a cyanide unit out in one of the plants here in Houston. If it rains, you're going to go to the nurse and you're going to drink a charcoal milkshake. Oh, me. And then you're going to spit black stuff, and the next day you're going to crap a chunk of coal. If you like a sweet-tipped cigar that's heavy on the latakia, basically, you'll probably like it. But I'm going to say I'm not super enamored with the sweet cigars that way. And then you put sweet on top of charcoal, and it didn't do very much for me at all. But I sold the mess out of them. They sold real well. Y'all give me half a second. I am going to go ahead and turn on the outside light. Not that it's needed yet, but I don't want to need it and not have it. Better to have and not need than to need and not have. Well, Peter, Drew Estates makes the Liga Privada, the Drew Estates Undercrown line. They've got so many cigars in Drew Estates lineup that you could quite literally open a store with just a damn good relationship with Drew Estates. And still you would be doing pretty good business. Granted, if you don't have Drew Estates in your shop at all, and you open a store, you're probably not going to make it very far. Cliff, I mean, I know it's only 4 p.m. Central Time, and you know, I'm going to tell you, it's not dark yet, but I can see the length of shadows, and there's no more sunlight touching the street. And because the sun is setting almost directly at my back, which means I am surrounded by brick, it's going to get dark in my little porch area a whole lot faster than I would care to admit. Cuba, the best-selling cigar on the planet. I don't care for them at all. I don't like the flavor of them. But construction on point. Just like everything on the Drew Estates lineup. They're constructed as a premium cigar from top to bottom. Does not matter which level you get. Drew Estates drops their name on them. Yeah. About the only exception to that is the little square coffee flavored ones, which are actually made by Rocky Patel for Drew Estates. So they share the money on that. Cliff, I agree with that statement 100%. I would not want to live in a world where everybody agrees with me 100% of the time. Because you either have two situations there. One, you're a tyrant and everybody's afraid of disagreeing with you. Or two, you've got so damn much money that you're just surrounded by yes men. Both situations have major drawbacks. Peter, you're right there with me. You get a Drew Estate. It doesn't matter if it's a T52, a feral pig, an undercrown, a Nortano, hell, even the ones that they call Nica Rustica. They are all going to be just so easy to smoke. Great sticks. But in their lineup, I will purposely go after the ones that are not infused. And I tend to stay away from the ones that are oiled, which all of the Liga Privadas have a misting of some sort of oil, which darkens the color of the wrapper. I can prove that they've got an oil layer on there. Come on there, Steve. It's not so that the lizards can come out. It's just that Texas is so big, we choose to tell the sun to get out of here a little earlier, and the sun goes ahead and obeys. Cliff, good call. I saw it as well, but here in my area, I didn't get to see a very good lunar eclipse. It was just a little. But I knew what I was looking for, and I knew when I was looking for it, so I was out there at the time. That's right. Cliff, you got to remember, Boris can judge St. Nicholas on his particular beard because it is Boris's southern neighbor. Peter, I don't believe that it's actually ethylene glycol. It is a specific mineral oil blend. And don't get me to try and tell you exactly which blend, because they didn't tell me, but I did get it out of them that it is a mineral oil of some sort. Food grade, completely safe for human consumption. There's nothing wrong with it, but I don't need mineral oils to darken the jacket just to give it a darker jacket. It also has the effect that it gives a little more smoke. Well, Cliff, depending upon the cigar, some cigars are perfectly ready as soon as you get them at the store. And some of them are really, you need to, hang out with them for a couple of months. And I've even had some that it took 18 months before they were anywhere near towards their peak. And some of those were fantastic out of the store, but so much better after an 18-month age. Oh yeah, good old flat earthers. They're the same ones that say that Australians are fake. Yes, Willie, if you're going to run slow. Unless you have the runs, and then run as fast as you can. And by the way, for anybody who is not following along with the Volunteer Piper or John the Night Piper, y'all really need to get in on that. And no matter what else, you better show up on the 22nd of December. There is a pipe that is being given away. No, not that pipe. But it is a Phil Rivera, one of a kind. And it's beautiful. Oh yes, most of the flat earthers do believe that Australia is a figment of Hollywood's imagination. Of course, having actually been to Australia myself, I kind of have to shoot that thought down. Another funny thing about Australia, they could hand you out a book of what is safe for you, and it would be like a pamphlet. No, instead they hand out, these things will kill you, and it's like a New York phone book. You better pack your reading glasses, because you're going to be up all night reading that damn thing. You want poisonous snakes? Oh, they got them. Just start checking that list off. Crocodiles, they'll eat you whole. Kangaroos, oh, they look cute. But if they decide that they're going to whoop your ass, be prepared for a long, merciless ass whooping. They ain't going to just stop when you go down. It ain't like some referee's going to step in and say, hey, he's had enough. No. Kangaroos are dangerous. Oh, wait. I am careful about what I say about the pipe that the Nashville Mafia is giving away. It is a special order from Phil Rivera. And it is a beautiful pipe. And it is possible that they are going to give it away. But they got to have 100 people in the chat on December 22nd. Otherwise, John's going to be sitting there on December 23rd, probably going live just to sit there and say, oh, this is such a good pipe. Thank y'all for not showing up. Good call, Peter Piper. Yes, Jay Mouton is again doing a auction for, let's see, I believe it is Shiners and St. Jude's this time. I don't know the split on how the money is going to be split up, but the last one, by the end of it, I even wanted to drop a few tears, and you know, I'm not the cryy, whiny type. Shriners, sorry. Which one did I say wrong there, Peter Piper? It's St. Jude, I'm pretty sure, because that's who it was last time, and Shriners this time. Yes, okay. St. Jude and Shriners. Both of them are highly active in treating children at an extremely low cost or no cost to the family. Yes, sometimes there will be a cost. Whether it is expensive or not depends upon who it is forking the cost. But a lot of their patients are free of charge. And I say a lot of their patients are free of charge. There is a St. Jude's and a Shriners hospital here in Houston, and for the most part, it is free of charge. There are some things that do get a cost, but they tend to be extremely minor compared to the amount of things that are going on. Like, hey, you want your kid to have a physical so he can play sports, and you go to the Shriners Hospital or St. Jude's, you're gonna incur a cost. But hey, your kid's got some sort of crazy cancer and nobody else even wants to try it. They'll take you in and they'll do it for free if they even have a shot at it. Peter, see, that's exactly the point. They keep it down to a minor cost. And I do mean minor. It's ridiculous. Compared to every other hospital out there, you're never going to see those prices on your own bill. But for the kids, they move heaven and earth just to make it happen. Howdy, Ron. Great to see you, sir. Ron, yeah, that's pretty much what was indicated to me when I was in Australia. I was only there to deliver some equipment and then to do a training flight with some of the Australian military that were qualified for airborne. I'm not going to tell you where we were, which is irrelevant from almost 30 years ago. Well, it's probably only 25 years ago, but still, 25, 30 years ago, pretty much nobody that was on that flight is still in the military. Those that were probably officers and are pretty much generals now, or I don't know. Australia might have different ranks, so I'm not going to try and tell y'all what ranks somebody would be in the Australian military. I know I went up with people that basically did my job, and I was there to show them how the Americans do it in case they ever end up on an American flight. That was quite literally what I was there to do. And then they trekked with me from the landing zone to our pickup location so that that dumbass American didn't get his ass killed by all the shit that will kill you in Australia. And y'all are thinking I'm lying. Of course, Glenn tells me that most of that's just to harass the non-locals. Not a problem, Peter. You take care. Love seeing you here. Chad probably is not on tonight. That's fine. I'm going for as long as I can make this cigar last. And hopefully we will see you later tonight. Cane Rod is on this evening. And somewhere near the end of Cane Rod, Martin will get on. Okay, Piper said, Quorum. You pay almost $100 for a bundle of 20 sticks. This is just my opinion, but you can look up Charter Oaks, and you can look up Alec Bradley Project 40, and you can get 20 cigars that, in my opinion, are better for about the same $100. Does Perdomo, the maker of Quorum, actually like that statement? No, they do not. They decided that they were going to raise prices, though, and I couldn't, in good faith, sell a short filler cigar at full premium cigar prices. Not when there were cigars that were far superior in quality, craftsmanship, and materials used. But if you really like the flavor of the Quorum, I'm not going to tell you no. But if I had to choose between Quorum and Drew Estates Factory Smokes, easy call. 25 sticks for way cheaper. If I want budget sticks, which Quorum used to be a budget stick price, I would definitely hit the factory smokes. Ah. Lawn guys came through today. I've had allergies all day. Oh, watch. I'm going to not mess this up. Eden! Howdy, sir. Great to see you. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, Eden's been doing some live feeds lately. Decent show. Of course, he's just barely starting on the live feeds, so I'm going to tell you, it's a good time to hang out. Might want to check him out right there My Pipe and I. Highly suggest his channel for those of you who are looking for some more content. The first one of his shows that I caught because I just happened to be outside at the right time. Not a problem, Eden. Not a problem. But that's what tailgates are for. We're here to talk about all of this stuff. If we can share with each other, everybody's channel will grow a little, and some of our channels will grow a lot. Woo, Paul. I am willing to bet that there is going to be a massive amount of people there watching for that show. Eden, the easiest way to get support from us and to support those other channels is to, make mention of them during your live shows and come on to other people's live shows and, hang out, chat with us. There's some people that have a couple of hundred followers that still have yet to put out more than an introduction video. Well, Ron, the Drew Estates Factory smokes, I'm telling you, I wouldn't mind paying $5 a stick for them. I'm not telling them that, but I don't mind telling y'all that. And some of them are as cheap as like $1.30 a stick, and that's good value. Well, Eden, at least from my side of things, I really enjoy you being here. And I've really enjoyed my time on your channel as well. So, I mean, it's... Though it is a little harder for me to answer cigar questions on other people's feeds because I've got to type it in and I'm slow. So 3 minutes after you ask a question, I'm finally getting the answer sent, which sometimes makes the chat a little choppy. But and I apologize. I wish I could be a little faster about helping people out on their feeds with the cigars as I can be here, where I can just tell y'all about it. I can speak 80 times faster than I can type. Oh, said, not a problem. Not a problem at all. I might not have as much pipe knowledge as some of the other pipers on these other channels. Now, I've got some, don't get me wrong, but I spent a lot more time with cigars than I did with pipes. And I know enough about cigars to kind of put you in a better position to make an informed decision. So it'd be irresponsible of me to just keep all of the knowledge in and let people make mistakes. Uh-oh, Steph's going pet sitting. All right. Well, love on whoever's pet that is. Okay, bring a small saddle. Now, Donnie, that's a trick of all the great cigar smokers. It's something I came upon early in my years with cigars. And that's what got me into pipes, was trying various different ways to make a pipe finish a great cigar. Some cigars, you'd be down to the nub and there's no way I'm throwing this down. I'm finishing it. All of it. Okay, Piper said, cigars with a great room note. There's a lot of people that do not like the smell of a cigar. The ladies tend to like the ones that smell like coffee or vanilla. There's one by a company called Tatiana that is called Groovy Blue. And real cigar smokers do not even want you to light that in a cigar lounge. When I'm saying real cigar smokers, I'm talking about those guys who are going to light up a 1926 Padron Maduro, and they're going to sit back with their hand on a glass of scotch and sip their scotch and smoke their cigar. And when someone lights a Groovy Blue 2 houses over, you can still smell it. It is it has a very unique smell. You cannot deny what it is. Once you've smelled it the first time, you can smell it within 30 seconds of someone lighting it up in a cigar shop. The whole store can smell it. But if you are in with a group of people that don't like cigars, it probably is going to be a crowd pleaser. And Eden's very correct on this. Cigars will always have a strong smell. So back to a story that I should have finished and didn't. When my wife goes on these outings for her company, fancy dinners, whatever, I'll take 2 vanilla scented cigars that I can tolerate. Not that I like them, just that they're there. But I will also take 5 much better cigars. And I will have my 5 much better cigars in the car or in a case that I can carry with me. And I'll keep my 2 little vanilla cigars right there. Because invariably, I will end up with that one person who is a know-it-all about everything. and they will start trying to aggravate me. And instead of being rude and getting my wife in trouble for my lack of being nice to somebody. Just a second. Cat wants in. Fat cat. So as I was saying, instead of getting my wife in trouble just because I don't want to have to deal with that person, I will light up a cigar and try to just fog them off of me. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't. But when I light the first cigar, I'll make sure to pass by in some way, shape, or form somewhere near enough to my wife that she can smell that cigar. And she'll turn and look, and she will find me, and she will know, okay, first cigar. First cigar is the warning. I'm dealing with jackass. Thanks. If I light the second cigar, she knows that she has, from the time I light that cigar, because I'll make sure she knows I'm lighting it, until the time when I finish that cigar, to go ahead and manufacture some reason that she has to leave early. Not a problem, Cliff. Great having you here. You take care, sir, and enjoy that large sample packs that your friend sent you. Ooh, was it really white owls in Vietnam? Because I thought those just recently came out. But yes, Ron, not a question. There's certain jobs in the military that nobody screws with. Nobody wants to screw with the electricians because, well, no lights, no electricity, no air conditioning. Yeah. It makes things so much easier to just not screw with the electricians. I happen to be one. That's how I know. You never screw with the guy who does the post office. You just don't. Because he could screw up everybody's mail for a little bit, and everybody is chewing on that dude's ass. It's pretty simple that way. Okay, so white owl, maybe that's been rebirthed recently. But I don't remember them for a while, and now they're just like a gas station cigar, and they're made with pipe tobacco. They're interesting. Oh, so back to what I was saying. If I light that first cigar, though, the vanilla stick, and my wife smells that one, and then somebody sees the cigar and wants to start talking about cigars, and we can somehow get far enough off from the rest of the crowd, I'll be like, hey, you know, I got other sticks, but I brought this one so that I wouldn't be like cigar fogging everybody. And if we're having a good enough conversation, I can share, of my 5 that I'll bring, there's been plenty of times where I've lit the first one and been rescued by one of the other patrons at the place, and I can go have a bourbon and a cigar with somebody who actually likes cigars. And that's always more enjoyable than sitting there as the hanger-on. Plus, it helps grease the wheel. Well, if Steve says they've been around forever, I'm going to take his word for it. I'll just say that now White Owl is considered a gas station cigar, and it is not even sold at any of the more notable cigar shops. All right. Eden, I'm going to type that in. Allergies, damn it. It is the Rose of Sharon by Southern Draw Cigars. And the reason I typed it in there is so that I could make sure that my accent could be completely eliminated by the printed word. And I'll stand by my statement of it is, if not the best, in my opinion, Connecticut cigar. Then it's number 2. There are very few cigars in the Connecticut lineup, of anybody's Connecticut lineup, that has that much flavor and still makes you feel like, okay, I've had a cigar. Most Connecticut's, you're like, okay, I finished a Connecticut, time to light another one. It's good enough that even a Maduro smoker would smoke a Rose of Sharon. But again, I caution everybody, that is your first of the day with coffee, or if you're not going to smoke anything all day, it can be at night, whatever. But if you're going to smoke a full-bodied cigar, previous to the Rose of Sharon, even though it's a great cigar, you will not be able to obtain that flavor profile because your other cigars will just have drowned out your taste buds by the time you get to the Rose of Sharon. So you can give it a shot, but don't do it the wrong way, otherwise you're going to think that I'm completely off. Oh, the Oliva lineup is great. My personal favorite of all the Olivas, and this is including the Series V Melanio, even better than that one, in my opinion, is going to be the Master 3 blends, or the 3 Master blends. So many people say it various different ways, and I've never been able to get any of the Oliva representatives alone enough that I can ask them that question. You can brush your teeth first. Yes, that will work somewhat. But normally, if it's your very first one of the day, you might have had food or something else. But really no cigar smoke at all. And then that's when you'll be able to really taste the Rose of Sharon. I mean, if you smoked a Maduro 2 hours before you try smoking the Rose of Sharon, even though you brushed your teeth, it will still be a little bit washed out. And that's true with almost any Connecticut. I say almost any because I haven't found one yet that is not true for, but there might be one out there that I haven't tried. I'm not going to say it's always true until I've tried them all. And, well, there's not enough hours in a day or days left in my life for me to try every single cigar out there. I mean, maybe if I had Methuselah's average lifespan, but I don't. Neither does anybody else. So, you know, we just kind of have to hope for the best. I guess that's the best way to put it. Again, I don't know everything. I know a lot of things. Unless you ask my wife, and then she'll say, I don't know a damn thing.
Don't know shit.
You heard it from her. At least I think you heard it from her. She's right there. You heard her. I know you did. Y'all always like it when she busts my chops. And she's over there laughing. Don't worry, babe. I told him about that thing that was said at the Christmas time a couple of years ago. How they said that I was rubbing off on you and... Yeah.
You're just not right in the head.
Boris, no question marks there, exclamation points. The wife is always right. Just ask her, she'll tell you. And the only time she's wrong is when she is then superseded by the mother-in-law.
Your life is so hard.
Because I have a mother-in-law and a wife, I used to tell people I am the world's only colorblind Amish electrician. Because that's the only way I could be as wrong as I honestly was told I was. Yes, I said colorblind Amish electrician. Go ahead. Let that one filter through for a little bit. The amount of people who are colorblind Amish electricians could probably be put on a post-it note and still have plenty enough room for all of them in large font. Don't blame me. I just live the jokes. I don't come up with them. Howdy, Dan. Great to see you, sir. Now, for all of those who are here wondering where in the hell Chad is, he decided he was going to take a vacation from YouTube for a while. And I told him that I would fill in while he's on vacation. All right, Steve. Hey, thanks for that information, sir. I did not realize that white owls had been around since 1887. Good Lord. And I was fairly certain that they had gone away if they had and then came back. But, I mean, maybe they're still doing what they always did. As I said before, though, they are definitely a gas station cigar. It's something you can walk into gas stations all over the place, and you might likely find them there. While it is a cigar, it's very similar to Swisher Sweet. They tend to be sold more for those people who are looking to make a blunt than they are for smoking a cigar. I'm not judging. I'm just telling you what's typical. Piper said, I definitely can imagine a 2 century ago blend. I believe if you have ever tried a Monte Cristo number 2, that blend has stayed true to its roots since, God, if I remember right, it's 200 and some odd years. So yeah, the Monte Cristo name has been around for quite some time. The H. Upmann blend recently, a couple of years ago in fact, had its 175th anniversary. And the 175th anniversary stick is fantastic. But it's a unique blend that is pretty much all theirs. Boris, I do not even call backwoods a cigar. That is a chunk of tobacco that is shaped like a cigar and then flavored with something. It's much easier to take that and cut it into coins and stick it in your pipe. Dan, that is actually very true. Phillies blunts made by Swisher Sweets are a gas station cigar that is quite often used to make a blunt. Oh, Boris, I knew you didn't call a backwoods a cigar. Somebody who appreciates a Partagas Series D is not going to be all about the sweet tip or wood tip. That's not happening. Eden, I'm going to say start looking at Switzerland and you might be able to try Monte Fortuna. I don't know if they ship to your area or not. I don't know what exactly is legal to be shipped where specifically. I do know what's more or less available in the United States. Howdy 45, great to see you, sir. And I'm not going to disagree with your statement there. Oh, well, if you can get real Cubans there, I mean, that's the way to go, but I don't know what your import taxes and fees would be. Glum Chum's on. Does it look like Glum Chum is going to be on for a while, said? Just as a curiosity. I mean, if he is, I'll sneak off of here and go over and visit with him. It is just a tailgate, and I don't mind other people filling in during some of Chad's time. I'm just trying to keep the seat warm. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Damn nose is running. Ugh. All right, Steve, you take care. Have a good dinner. Give Kathy our love. That's like from all of us. Well, if anybody wants to go over to Glum Chums and ask, and then come back over here and let us know, I don't mind. I'll be glad to send some viewership his way. Nice guy, interesting channel. He can use the follows, I'm sure, because his channel's not really all that old yet. Well, Dan, see, that's the problem with Canadian taxes, is that you're getting gouged by your local, district, and state taxes to the point where it's almost impossible to smoke a Cuban without being rich. But at least you can get them. Here in the United States, we can't get them. At least we're not supposed to be able to get them. There's still ways to get them. Of course, if you get caught, you can be in trouble. I will say this, my father, La Bijou, smokes excellently, especially when you consider this stream's been going for almost 2 smoking hours. And I still got plenty of cigar left. Eden, the best I can tell you is you have to just keep looking, because somebody's almost always going to have a sale on some sort of a cigar. Whether they ship to your area or not, that's sometimes, well, it's beyond my control. If I was in control of it, shops would be able to buy and sell whatever cigars they figure they could sell. Boris, it's a damn fine stick. It really is. What am I supposed to say? Y'all have seen me smoke them. I practically want to not smoke them when I'm doing a live feed because I really want to tell y'all how good the cigar is. But there's always other questions and other things that people want to know. And no, I don't know everything. Yes, I have tried the Brick House cigars. They're decent. They're not going to be like a top 10 cigar, not by any means. But if you're out and about and you run across a store here in America anyways, the two Brick Houses, one's a natural and one's a Maduro, it's always decent. Everybody keeps asking me if people are shooting. They're shooting, yes. They're shooting nails into a roof. Putting on a new roof on a house, not across the street, but behind the one across the street. It's just so much easier to use an air gun and just I will agree, it's not usual that we have a gang war going on one street over here in my quiet little town. But luckily, I know what's going on. It's just a roof. A bunch of guys up on a house with air guns. Now, if I was to do this show live from 5th Ward, yes, it could actually be actual gunfire. Part of the reason why I don't do this show live from 5th Ward. Though, as a boiler inspector, I used to sometimes have to go do a couple of dry cleaners in 5th Ward. And you want to get there at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Problem is, white guy, 5th Ward, 4 o'clock in the morning. You will be profiled by the police because you are only there to look for 3 things in their opinion: drugs, guns, or ass. I did not ever go to any of those dry cleaners where I did not get pulled over by the police and there's a long process of making sure that the police officer feels totally safe so that they don't decide to bust a cap in my ass. Ron, that is definitely somebody getting their house fully shingled. I think because the sound has been going on for a while that they also had it decked. Because I also heard saw blades going for a portion of the day. So if they're decking and completely shingling the roof of the house, I mean, stands to reason. You don't want rain coming in. You better put new shingles on from time to time. Just is what it is. Even better is when 2 or 3 houses in a row have the same insurance agent. They'll get one claim from one of them, and then they'll ask the next several homeowners in the same area if they can do a quick inspection. If they find something wrong, they'll say, hey, look, we need to go ahead and get this done. At least here in Texas. I mean, that doesn't always happen, but here in Texas, they tend to do it because, well, it's easier if they can say, hey, look, we had this storm come through. It created this amount of damage. And the insurance company can just go ahead and eat it. But it's cheaper to eat it while they can still fix it before it becomes an issue than it is to eat it after it becomes an issue. Paul, I used to sometimes have that issue myself. And then I figured out one simple thing. If I will get one of those little pill containers that says, it has the initial for Monday through Sunday. And then in each one of them, I put a little slip of paper that says which pipe to smoke. That takes some of it out of there. Ron, you and I are thinking the same thing, brother. Because I know when they really want to get done, they are not going pop, 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 pop. It's more like pop, 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 pop. There we go. Dan's making a suggestion. GH Twist and a Peterson. Pretty good suggestion there, Dan. And yes, Ron, most of the roofing companies here in the state of Texas do tend to get paid by the hour instead of by the job. Though the owner tends to get paid by the job. So if he was out here, you would hear him speed up. So I guess nobody's coming back from Glum Chums to say that he's going to be on for a while. No big deal. Come on, Paul, you got to remember, people that are hearing voices are crazy. That's why I asked the ones that I hear whether I'm crazy, and we couldn't unanimously come up with that I am, so therefore I'm not. Not a problem, Eden. Eden. I said it right. Why did I go back to Iden? I don't know. I mean, the cool part about shopping for cigars while you're on my live feed is that you're sitting right next to a tobacconist and you can ask me questions. Uh-oh, Escudo in a GBD. Also a good selection there. I mean, we could go fill up his chat room. It wouldn't be a problem. I don't mind helping the young man out. I mean, Doug's his dad. And he's a nice enough guy. If y'all want to go over there, we can go over there. All right, 45, you take care. Oh, Chad and Dingus are there. Cool. All right. With Chad and James over there at Glum Chums, I'm going to say let's go ahead and give the young man a helping hand. Let's take, well, the 8 plus 1, that would be 9 extra people. If he's at 4, we just tripled his supply of people. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been so much fun having you here. I am so happy that y'all were. And we're going to go visit with Glum Chum and Chad and James and anybody else who's over there. As per always, y'all remember, take care of yourselves and each other. Do the best you can with that. There's no rules to it. Just do what you can. And as per always, remember, long lives, big bowls, and long ashes. Y'all take care. I'll see you at Glum Chums here in just a minute.